11 recently published horror books that I think are worth your time. If you don't know me, I'm Carrie, and I read a book a day to give you the best thriller, mystery, and horror book recommendations, so if you're into that, make sure to give me a follow. You Did Nothing Wrong by C.G. Drews follows once single mother Elodie, whose life has turned into a fairy tale as she's been swept off her feet and has moved into a new home with her new husband, her son Jude, and a baby on the way. But when her autistic son Jude lets her know that the walls are whispering and that the renovations are hurting the home, Elodie's perfect new life begins to crumble. The Seventh Sister by Kurtagich follows 7 sisters who are sent to live on a remote forest-ridden island owned by their grandmother after their parents' passing. But life here is very different, and soon the girls find themselves entangled with some dark ritualistic ongoings. Sarafina by Fracassi follows 3 brothers who are fighting in the Civil War for the Confederacy when they decide to go AWOL. They endure many horrors on their way through the wilderness when they stumble upon a homestead, and living in a cabin on this homestead is a woman named Sarafina who introduces them to a whole new level of horrors. Nothing Tastes as Good by Dumas follows Emmett, who has always struggled with his weight. One day he joins a clinical trial for a new miracle weight loss drug. The weight begins to fall off, but this drug has some very interesting side effects. He begins losing stretches of time, and then people who were once cruel to him begin to vanish. Aviary by Maria Dong follows an undocumented immigrant in South Korea who is facing deportation when she discovers that her sister is no longer alive and decides to assume her identity and head to the United States in hopes of figuring out what happened to her. But her sister is enrolled in this art program, and she soon finds that this program is far more sinister than she could have ever imagined. Wolfworm by Kingfisher follows Sonia, who is a scientific illustrator who takes a job at this manor in the North Carolina woods for this doctor who wants her to illustrate his massive bug collection. But she soon discovers that something isn't quite right in the woods surrounding this manor, and that the doctor she works for may have some sinister secrets of his own. Nowhere Bernie by Catriona Ward follows 3 different storylines that uncover the dark secrets of how a disgraced movie star's ranch called Nowhere has become a sanctuary for runaway children. You Should Have Been Nicer to My Mom by Vincent Tirado follows a family in the wake of the patriarch of the family, Papi Ramon's passing. In his will, it states that he has made a deal with a demon and that somebody in the family is that demon. Throughout the story, we follow Ziamara as she tries to figure out which of her family members is a demon. Dollface by Lindy follows a horror author named Jill who's moved to a new town and is trying to make friends with the PTA moms. All's well until a mass killer begins taking the women out one by one. The Two Deaths of Lillian Carmichael by Paulette is available on Kindle Unlimited. It follows a woman named Lillian who survives her own execution after she was accused of unaliving her sister. Many bodies have turned up, and people start to speculate that the dead Lillian may be responsible for all of them. Now living under a new identity, she teams up with a new friend to clear her name and find the real killer. Turn Off the Light by Jacquie follows 2 different women living centuries apart that are bound together by a dark secret. We have Edith in 1630, who is a healer of sorts who believes that she may have welcomed in the devil. And then in present day, we have Claire, who has moved back to her childhood home to take care of her dying father when she begins to suspect that the house may be haunted. Thank you so much for watching. Now please leave me a comment and let me know if you've read and loved any of these books, and if you haven't, which one sounds the best to you?